everybody. It is I, the Wolfman. It is 6:02 p.m. on Wednesday, the 2nd of August, 2023. This is the first time that I'm trying to do a segment that I'm going to call Wolfman Weekly. Now, the idea behind Wolfman Weekly is for people who are practicing the Wolfman Method, which includes myself, once a week on Wednesday nights, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to record a video. So if you want to be a part of this, I have a playlist that is called the Wolfman Method. It goes through several lessons. It starts with meditation, and it is a method for alignment through meditation, channeling, speech and movement, and with the intent to achieve alignment in a moment so consistently that it produces an effect that appears to be enlightenment. And so for those of you who are going on this journey with me, once a week, Wednesday nights, I am going to record a video where I talk about how the practice is going and answer questions. So if you have any questions, the place to leave them is in the comments of this video, and then before I do the video next week, I will read those comments and I will, see if I have any insight, any answers to these questions, and I will record another video on Wednesday, and so on and so forth. If there aren't any questions, I'll just say what's on my mind. I'll probably do quite a bit of that anyways, but yeah, that's the purpose of this video segment, and this video being the first one. Obviously there aren't any questions. I did go ahead and check the Wolfman Method playlist to see if there were any questions. There weren't. So if you have questions, please leave them in the comments, and I will answer them next week. In the meantime, I am a student of the Wolfman Method. I am not a master. I intend to be a master by the time this incarnation is over. But at the moment, I'm just figuring stuff out and passing along my perspective on truth, whatever little bit that I figure out. So what I'm going through right now is an attempt to dissolve the concept of good and bad, good and evil. And I think that the idea here is that there aren't any good things or any bad things. There are just things that are the way they are. And then I look at them and I can see them. And I can see the grass is green or brown. And I can make a judgment on that if I like. And I can say, well, green grass is good and brown grass is bad. But it's not real. It's only my judgment of it that makes me experience bad grass. There's no such thing as bad grass. There's green grass and there's brown grass and, yellow. And really, if you call it green grass, but like really look at it, see what it is. It's not all the same color, but we call it green. If you pay attention, there's yellows and there's browns in all of it. And so I think at best, and it's very difficult because of the way that my habits of language are, because best is a form of good, right? So good, better, best. So in my attempt to dissolve the concept of good and bad, and good and evil, concepts like better or worse, best and worst, these things are tied up with good and bad and good and evil. And so going back to the grass, it's just green grass or brown grass or whatever type of grass it is. It might be dry, it might be a little more succulent's not quite the word, but like have a little bit more water in it, a little bit softer, a little bit harder, sharper, whatever it is, and it's not good and it's not bad. It just is. Now, in this, I think it's important to note that they're okay. So good is basically a lazy descriptor. It's not a very accurate description of anything. You say a thing is good, but like what is that really? Like food is good. What does that mean? It means it has a taste that I enjoy. Okay, but how much of that is judgment and how much of it is just, you know, how much of it is real and how much of it is just judgment? Because the judgment part can be done away with. And so if I were to say that a sandwich was good, I might mean that it had a taste that I appreciate, or it might mean that I believe that it is nutritionally going to work well with my body, and so it has some nutritional benefit for me in the context of wanting to have a body that functions, um, with greater functionality rather than less functionality. That feels pleasant to be in. That feels loose and light and limber and fast and strong and full of energy. These are all real-ish types of things compared to good and bad. And so that's basically where I'm at. And then, okay, so then it's like, for the moment, I'm making a sort of a prohibition on myself, not as a rule so much as just as a strategy to not use words like good, better, best, bad, worse, worst, um, but instead to try to actually describe what the thing is. And even then, we're still using words, but it gets us a little closer to the experience, I think. And it allows as much of the judgment as possible to drop away. So that's just a little game that I'm playing, And there's a bit of a mantra for this. When I find myself thinking that something is bad, and you've probably heard some version of this from me before, like if I want to make it to work on time and things aren't working out so that will happen, I go, well, it's not better to be at work on time than it is to be late, but there are strategies. I do have choices, and there are strategies, and if I want to be on time, then there are things I can do to make that happen. I don't need to be in resistance to what is by saying that the thing that's happening is bad, or this would be bad, or that would be good, in order to like cajole myself into doing the thing that I want to do. I say, well, this is what I want, and so that's, because at the end of the day, that's what good and bad are about. Like good, the things I want are good, and the things I don't want are bad, right? But they're not really, because it's not actually better to get what you want than it is to not get what you want. And so that's where I'm at with that. And then, so there is good. Like it's just a word, right? So you can use the word, and I'm not suggesting that anybody go along with this and play this game with me. But if you want to, then great. Um, but there is good in certain contexts. Like if your goal is to end suffering, then things that create more suffering are bad, and things that alleviate suffering are good. But that's only if that's the goal, and it's not ultimately good or bad, because it's not better to not suffer than it is to suffer. And so the final thing that I want to say about good and bad is that there is a good, and I don't know of a better word for it. Maybe love, maybe it's not order, because it's some sort of order that transcends chaos and order, like the order of the way that the chaos fits within the order. I'm not sure. There's some sort of good that transcends good and bad and good and evil, and it's I believe it's possible to view the entire universe as good, but not like, oh, it's good because it's this way, and it would be bad if it were a different way. It's like, no, this is the way that it is, and that is good, and that's not good as opposed It's not a binary good and evil good. It's just good. There is no bad in that. So, and maybe I'm abusing the word and that's not what it means, but that's the way I feel about it. I feel like it's possible to have a good that transcends good and bad. And so yeah, so that's what I've been playing with lately. And again, hopefully, it would be good if you guys had some questions so that I can answer those instead of just rambling about whatever philosophical topics are on my mind. Although I will still probably do that. Um, and then just for the sake of, I don't know, transparency or accountability or whatever, I will tell you that, like, in the Wolfman Method, I ask everybody to take on an hour of sitting practice and an hour of standing practice every day. That's 2 hours of practice a day. And that is a big ask. And I don't expect people to do that at the beginning. This is something to work towards over the course of your life. You could live 90 years. And, if you're my age, then that leaves a little less than 60 years to go, potentially. And so I look at any practice, whether it's exercise or spiritual practice, which is not that there's really a distinction between the two. Exercise can certainly be part of the spiritual practice because there's no actual separation between the physical and the spiritual. However, the point is practice can, I like to take it with the view that I've got, you know, all things being equal, if I do a good job, and my intention is to have about 60 years left, 58 years left in this incarnation. Um, I'm not trying to die until 2081. So, you know, and I don't need to be doing 10 hours of practice a day by 2081. If I'm doing 2 hours a day by 2081, that'll be fine. And so that's the way I'm doing it. Like, I am asking you guys to do 2 hours a day, but you have the rest of your life to pull that off. Or you can do it, you can set a goal to do it by the end of this year. It's all whatever feels right to you. Personally, I'm up to an hour of practice a day, and I've been there for a while. Like, I've been meditating most of my for years. I've been meditating for years. I go through my background in meditation a little bit more in the introduction to the Wolfman Method, so I don't need to go there now. But um, I've been meditating pretty consistently for years, and I would say that, like, generally speaking, I don't think it would be a lie to say that I'm averaging about um, 28 days out of a month that I actually do my meditation practice like I intend. But like this morning, I woke up and I'm reading a really interesting book. It's probably a young adult novel, but who cares? It's the third book of the Mistborn series, the Well of Ascension, I think it's called. It's neither here nor there, but I'm really interested in the story, and so I moved my butt to my meditation chair, and I got up and I went there and I read a book instead of meditating, and I don't feel great about it, but I'm not beating myself up about it either. I'm just like, okay, that's what I wanted this morning, and I wanted it more than I wanted the benefits of practice, but now that I didn't get the benefits of practice this morning, I really want to get up and meditate tomorrow. So, you know, that kind of thing happens. But like I said, I'm doing an hour a day, and I'm doing about 28 days out of 31 that I don't mess up. And so I think that's not awful, and it seems to be having some pretty significant benefits. And yeah, so I'd love to hear how you guys are doing. If you guys are doing the Wolfman Method and not just watching this video, if you're actually engaged in the Wolfman Method, if you leave a comment with a question, I would love to hear where you're from, um, how you're doing with the Wolfman Method, and then whatever question you've got. You don't have to do that, you just ask your question, but I am curious if anybody's watching these, if anybody's doing the practice, and if where you're from, who you are. Tell me a little bit biographical about yourself, if you would like, or if not, just ask your question. Like I said, I'll do another one of these next week. I will attempt to answer these. No, I will answer the questions that are in the comments And I intend to release these on Thursdays, every Thursday from now on forever. And so that is my intention. And I truly love you guys. I do. For watching, and just because it's my intention to love you guys. And so, um, together with everything, together with God, oneness, right? Kon omne kono yoko. That's what it means. It means together with kon, omne, everything, together with kon, oyoko, God. So, kon omne kono yoko. May your hearts be happy. May your minds be clear. May you find satisfaction in all your endeavors. And may you find ultimate satisfaction.